Hello and welcome to our thought for today. And today is Wednesday, the 25th of January, and how privileged and blessed we are to have such a sunny day. I pray the reading that I share with you will bring some sunshine into your hearts. And the theme for today's reflection, the obstacles to true faith. And we're drawn to the New Testament Christian Bible, to the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 21, and we read, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father, Mother God, who is in heaven." So let's read on what Leslie Brandt has to say from this beautiful book, Jesus Now. God did reveal something of himself and his love for the children of Israel through the giving of the law. His chosen people through whom he was ultimately to reveal himself through Christ were fenced about, corralled by his statutes. This law became their religion, and those who made honest attempts to live by that law consider themselves the objects of God's goodness and loving kindness. Those who ignored or disobeyed the law became the objects of prophetic denunciations and the threat of damnation. From that time until this, laws and rules and regulations have become a religion for masses of the world's inhabitants. And now, in spite of God's revealed love through Christ, people continually attempt to pacify a holy and all-righteous God by way of self-imposed standards that allegedly please him, or religious ceremonies which pretend to honor a loving Father, Mother God. They often become these laws and regulations, the very thing that stands between the people and their loving God. Laws continue to be necessary in society to guarantee some kind of order, to enforce justice, to keep sin-ridden human beings from destroying each other. They are, however, incapable of relating men and women to God. Whereas the law of God does serve God and humankind in terms of revealing the brokenness, the emptiness, the insufficiency of the human spirit, and thereby may prepare people for God's ultimate revelation through Jesus, the cosmic Christ. It does not unite God's creatures to himself. This is what Christ has come to do, to reconcile you to the God of your creation, to proclaim and demonstrate his mercy and love, to show you the way and grant you the power to embrace his forgiving love. What more can I say except that I guess many of you, like me, will have been corralled as a young child, as we were in Ireland, Catholic Ireland, where we lived in fear of the parish priest. And when we were educated by the nuns and the Christian brothers, we froze. We were petrified of meeting them out of school hours. So we grew up with that insatiable fear. And it was wrong. And even as a young monk in training back in the 60s in Ireland, we were governed by fear. If we didn't obey the rules, we'd be sent home to our families. And what a disgrace that would be to the community. Oh, hello. But I remember times when God's love was abused by tyrannical superiors. And honestly, when I look back now on those times, and I think, my God, how did any of us as young nuns and monks escape that tyranny of fear and negative theology? Thank God today, when you read a book like Jesus Now, it brings it into focus. I don't buy into dogma or fear. I did do. And it took 12 years of counseling to overcome the guilt I felt for daring to leave the monastery due to severe depression brought on by living in an unsafe community where there was no interaction, no love. So I'm all for a mixed community of men and women living together, as Jesus promised with Francis and St. Clare through the Franclara Abbey of Peace and Compassion that's in the ethers ready to manifest, where 12 men and women will live together their hermitic life and come together 3 times a day to celebrate their love of God, be they Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh, Jew, Muslim or Baha'i, a Christian, and dance to the canticle of the creatures doing the whirling dervish. And where there's a respect for one another, and where you never dream of asking, what religion are you? And that's our core values as brothers and sisters in the Teo community. We're not here to ask another, what belief are you? Or to sit in judgment on them, or even to shackle them with rules and regulations that happened to me as a young monk, that left me screwed up and living in fear of God. Oh, but it took a major breakdown where I lost everything 20 years ago to finally come back to God, a loving God. And I did not buy into that fear, negativity, or that I was evil or a sinner. Because to say someone is a sinner or evil, you're judging. But there's a contradiction here. If you say to someone that they're a sinner, then where does that lie with that God, who is perfect, created you a whole perfect child of God in God's image and likeness? Or are we saying that God creates imperfection? Heaven forbid. Anyway, let's be still and just take a deep breath. And let us come into the presence of whoever your God is. And let us ask for the outpouring of God's love to reawaken in our heart that there can be no room or place in our spiritual journey with God to God of fear and guilt and judgment. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on all of us here and help us to see you in every child of God, be they black or white, gay or straight. Help us to love them as you love us. Amen. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to you again, meeting with you again for another top-up. But for now, have a wonderful day, and remember, you were called by name, and that God gave you a new name. And that name that was given to me is, you are my son, and I love you. You are God's sons and daughters, and God loves you too. Peace, Namaste, Shalom, Inshallah, Pax et Bonum, OmShanti, Solo di Caritas, Salam Alaikum, and may the peace of our God, a God of many names, empower you today to let go of fear, regulations, rules that stifle God's love in you, and fly like a bird. Take care.